baseball bettor on the planet with us today. We also have the best college basketball bettor, Brandon, Tokyo Brandon, going to talk some MLB. He's going to take apart the New York Yankees Pittsburgh game and the Cleveland LA Angels game. Marco D'Angelo right after that. He's going to look at both Final Four games, and he's going to tell you exactly which team to bet. Will it be Florida? Will it be Auburn? Will it be Houston? Maybe it's Duke. Stay with us for Marco D'Angelo's segment. We got some UFC. Andrew Babakitis joining us from the Westgate Sportsbook. He's going to tell us exactly where the sharpest, wisest, sexiest money is going for the UFC card this Saturday. Of course, Andy Lang, like always, he's got some Final Four prop bets for us, and me and him are going to talk about the Washington-Chicago game tonight. Will Ovechkin break the record? 3 goals to go. There are some betting opportunities there. Stay with us. And Gianni The Greek with his Friday Steam report. I'm Lawrence Presman. This is Wager Talk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And this guy is a hero of mine, Tokyo Brandon. Look, it's not how you dress, it's how much you win. And nobody wins more than you. The number one most profitable expert at Wager Talk, basically forever. How are you, my friend? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was on the show, I think, a week ago, but you were not here. It was Andy, but you're back. I'm back, and it's nice to see you again. It's been a while since I heard that voice in my ear.
You know what, dude? You are one of my favorite people to have on the show. You are colorful as shit. But most importantly, there really is nobody who's better than you at betting. And obviously there are better bettors in the world of darts, Andy Lang, in the world of UFC, Kyle Anthony, in the world of hockey, Lawrence Presman. But when it comes to baseball betting, you were a scout for the major leagues. You know the sport like I know the back of my own hand. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm your good luck charm when you're playing craps as well.
Yes. Well, let's do that again soon, Tokyo. Anyway, guys, let's get into some actionable betting information. We have the 4-2 New York Yankees on the road playing the 2-5 Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates are a dog hair at plus 145, a total of 7.5 on tap. Tokyo, how do we bet this game?
So I was kind of shocked when every day I look at tomorrow's games and I look at the lines. I was a little shocked when I pulled this one up because you got a team that's on fire with their torpedo bats, the New York Yankees. Yeah. Frankly, I don't think the torpedo bats make much difference, but they are on a torrid hitting pace right now, and it was pretty shocking to see a line like this. So, little betting trick. I like to take -1s quite a bit because it's safer than the run line, because if your team wins by 1, you get your money back. You don't lose your money. Nothing more frustrating than being on the right side, but your team wins by 1 and you lose your money. So I experienced that a couple times too many. So I refuse to do that anymore. So Yankees -1 is only -130. And I was really shocked because we got Max Fried going against Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller is a decent pitcher, but against the Yankees in his career in 62 at-bats, he's been torched for 339 average and a 929 OPS. And I look at 700 OPS as kind of a Mendoza line. So he's been torched pretty bad by these Yankee batters. Max Fried, solid pitcher, got backed by the second best lineup in MLB and a good bullpen. Pirates have a horrible bullpen, and they're really struggling to produce runs. So I'm all over the Yankees -1 here at -130. I was really shocked to see the line as it is. Granted, they're on the road, but I mean, come on. Normally we get a Yankee tax, and I don't see the Yankee tax here. So I'm taking the Yankees -1 in this one.
There we go, Tokyo Brandon joining us. Tokyo, let's talk about this -1 strategy of yours. It makes a lot of sense. I actually, those bets are available in the NHL as well, and I've never taken advantage of that. So instead of taking the -0.5 or the money line, you look at -1, and that does give you the push opportunity. But conversely, you need the team to win by 2 to get it done. When your clients, when people buy your packages and play you long term, and just for the record, you've got a ton of customers playing your Major League Baseball season. So congratulations. Are they going to be seeing a lot of these -1 bets?
They'll see a few of them because in Major League Baseball there are no ties, so the risk is even less. It's kind of like Pai Gow poker, you know. You can survive a long time without losing your money. But I really don't like run lines, -1.5 run lines, especially with home teams. Granted, the Yankees are on the road today, but like I said, I experienced way too many times being on the right side and losing my money. I just didn't like it. You can chop off about 30 to 40 cents off the money line by taking a -1. It's low risk and you get your money back if you're guaranteed not to lose money if your team wins. So yeah, I do play -1 quite often in Major League, but not in Asian baseball.
I like it. It makes a lot of sense to me. Let's talk LA Angels. They're hosting Cleveland. Cleveland has beat this team 5 in a row. I don't think that's really relevant here. The season has just started. Cleveland has started the season 2-4. The Angels 4-2 might be their best record of the year. They might not ever be in that zone again. Or hey, maybe they're 5-2 tomorrow. How do we bet this game?
Take a screenshot of that record. Angels having a winning record. But, you know, when you got Mike Trout, they have quite a few good hitters in that lineup. They're not as trashy as everyone thinks. I mean, we have a bad impression of the Angels because usually Mike Trout's out by now. He's usually plays for a week and then he just sits the rest of the season out. But this season, he's still in there. For now. We don't know how long Mike Trout's going to last. He's kind of like an old Pinot. You don't know when it's going to break down. But while he's there, this is a pretty potent lineup. I have him ranked number 12 in all of Major League Baseball right now, where I have the Guardians ranked 21st. So hitting, there's a big discrepancy between the Angels and the Guardians at the moment. They both have pretty poor bullpens performing right now. Granted, the Guardians had the best bullpen in Major League Baseball last season. They do have a lot of talent in their bullpen, but they're not performing properly right now. And regarding starting pitchers, I like Soriano a lot more than I like Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams, career-wise, not really good numbers. And I think with Mike Trout healthy, I really like this Angel lineup when Trout is there. I loved it even better when Ohtani was there, but that was 2 years ago. I do like the Angels here to take this game. It's even money right now. I'm pretty high on Jose Soriano. I know he doesn't get a lot of accolades, but that's probably because he plays for the Angels. If he played for the Red Sox or the Yankees, he'd probably be a lot more famous. He has pretty good numbers. I think he's going to handle these Guardian batters quite well. Hopefully the Angels bullpen does not play a big part in it because they really are trash. But if he can go 6 innings, I think the Angels can handle the Guardians today. So I'm on the Angels. Small play, but I'm on the Angels on the money line today.
Tokyo Brandon joining us, everyone. If you guys want to know how to bet the Final Four, stay with us. Marco D'Angelo is next. He's going to take apart both those games in great detail. Andy Lang, towards the end of the show, will also give us some prop bets for the Final Four. So stay with us all the way to the end. We're going to have an outstanding show today. Also, if you don't mind, guys, if you can take a second out of your day to hit that like button, it's really, really appreciated and super important for us. Now, guys, every day, look, I know I sound like a broken record. Hey, make sure to play Andy's, bets. Make sure to play Gianni. Make sure to play Marco. And the reason for that is that we have the best handicapping team ever assembled. And I mean ever assembled on the planet. We have some of the most talented sports bettors you will ever see ever, and I'm talking historically talented sports bettors, guys like Crackman and Gianni and Steve Merrill, Teddy Covers. These guys are sit on the Mount Rushmore of sports betting. And with all of that said, Tokyo Brandon is the best of the lot. If somebody asked me, who do I play for 365 days, I would say, if you only had to pick one guy, that guy would be Tokyo Brandon. And that's with no disrespect to Marco or no disrespect to Andy or myself or Carmine or Andrew McGinnis. That is literally because he is the #1 most profitable handicapper at WagerTalk. And he's done it 3 of the last 4 seasons. If you were to play one guy, only one guy, this is him, Tokyo Brandon, and he's got a 5% play up today. But not only that, Tokyo, you have a promo code that is outstanding and is active all year round. TB3. It stands for Tom Brady 3. It's because Tom Brady is the GOAT. Tokyo Brandon is the GOAT. So on behalf of the GOAT, wait, hold on. On behalf of the GOAT, TB3, you get 3 days of Tokyo Brandon for only $39. You can buy his 5% play today for $35, or you can buy the next 3 days for $39. Dude, did I cover it? What else is going on?
Wow, man, you're my hype man. Thank you, Prez. Yeah, I do have a 5% play and TB3 to get 3 days for $39. You know, $4 more than my 5%. So grab that, and you can get all my plays. I have 5 plays in MLB today, so you can get all of those for just $4 more.
Tokyo, when you wear female glasses and some kind of weird necklace and you need a hype man, it would be a pleasure. I would walk down Tokyo literally in front of you, just saying, ladies and gentlemen, Tokyo Brandon, ladies and gentlemen, Tokyo Brandon, ladies and gentlemen, Tokyo Brandon.
Before you push me out the door, I got to say that girls in Japan dig the look, and come out here and find out for yourself.
Dude, that is all that matters. Who cares what the Prez thinks? Get out of here, my friend. Tokyo Brandon, everybody. And, you know, Marco, I mean, it's no disrespect to you, Marco. You know, I think you're one of the greatest sports bettors alive. But come on, dude. How freaking lucky are we to have Tokyo Brandon with us?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, watching that segment, Prez, I was ready to say for you two guys to get a room. I mean, that was like the over-the-top promo, but he deserves it. Absolutely.
Dude, I would say that was the hype promo of all time. But if it's going to happen, it's got to be him. And it's all true. It's literally true. Anyway, my partner at WagerTalk and one of the co-founders, an awesome dude, Marco D'Angelo, joining us. And Marco, we got the madness tomorrow. I've had an incredible tournament. I'm excited for both of these games tomorrow. I actually do not have plans, so I plan on watching both of these games tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun, especially if I'm winning. But let's talk about the first one. Florida playing Auburn. Auburn is plus 2.5. You can get Florida at around minus 150 on the money line if you want to go that way. And the total in this game is over 159.5. And obviously we expect a big score. I think this could be the game of the day. Where are you going here?
Well, Prez, before I actually break this game down, I want to give you just a little concept that it applies to both games here as we go into the Final Four. First half betting. And if you are looking for some first half wagers, one of the things that's been very popular and been profitable over the last several years is looking at the first half wager under. And the reason for that is because they're going to be playing in the Alamo Dome tomorrow, okay? These are just gigantic venues that they're playing in where you normally don't play that type of venue for a basketball game. So the depth perception is different. with the players shooting. Now, granted, they've been there and they've been practicing all week, but it's one thing to look at the bucket in an empty gymnasium or an empty arena during the week and then put the people in there. It changes the depth perception. So oftentimes you see slow starts to this game. Also because, well, if you got the four best teams here and they're all number one seeds, you've got good coaches across the board, they're going to do their X's and O's during the week. And they're going to come up with game plans and defenses and such to try to take away the strength of their opponent. So those first few minutes of games, oftentimes it's a chess match where they're trying to figure out what the other team is doing. So you get off to slow starts. So if you're betting a first half total, I would look to the unders in these games, but you can also flip the switch. And after you get those slow starts, you generally see the pace start to pick up. Check the in-game wagering and see how much they change those totals, because you can find some value then jumping in on full game over the adjusted total. Now, with that said, Prez, let's get into Florida and Auburn, and it is going to be a good game. You got two of the powerhouse teams from the SEC. Auburn has been virtually, number one, number two, basically all season long, and they come into the tournament as the number one seed, the overall number one. Florida, though, this is a team that has been red hot down the stretch of the SEC. They were playing the best basketball at the end of the season. You look at Auburn and what they've done in the tournament, they have turned up the defensive intensity. 3 of their 4 tournament games, they've allowed just 37% shooting. Florida has shown its grit, though. 2 of their tournament games, they won in dramatic fashion. 2 games back, game 2, they faced the back-to-back national champs, Connecticut. Now, that game was a dogfight, and they came away with the 77-75 win. Prez, you've heard me talk about it in these tournaments. I like teams that win those kind of games, win a close game, because it builds character, it builds confidence. And if you're in a tight game again in the tournament, well, you know what? You've already been there and you've done that, and you don't press the panic button. And that was never more evident than Florida's last win. On Saturday, they played Texas Tech. They were down 9 with just over 3 minutes left in the game, and they managed to come back and win the game. They ended up winning it by 5, turning it around. And that's because this team had already been in this situation before, and they didn't panic. I like that scenario. And as I said, down the stretch, they were the best team. They won 16 of their last 17 games, including 10 in a row. They already beat Florida this year. That game came back in early January. They were an 11-point underdog at Auburn, and they took it to them. They won 90-81. And here's the thing. When they won that game, a lot of people are saying, okay, now Auburn's playing with revenge. Yeah, they are. But Florida's actually better now than they were then. That was only the second game in that 17-game stretch that I talked about at the end of the season. So Florida got better as the season went on. And when you look at Florida installed as a favorite this year, they're 24-9, Prez. I'm going to ride the Gators to get to Monday, and then we'll decide Monday what we're doing.
Yeah, but Marco, I do have a quick question about this because, we saw Florida make a historical comeback last week. It was really one for the ages. They were done. Now, that bodes well for Florida. It's one of those been there, done that. Okay, we're down by 10 with 1:20 to go. We can still pull this game out. We've been there and done that before. Conversely, though, Auburn saw that happen as well. And don't you think that the other team factors that in too, like not letting up, not, the coach calling a faster timeout? I was unimpressed with the coach last week as Florida was dismantling, what was it, Texas Tech? I can't even remember, dude. It's like all freaking blends to me. Auburn knows what's going on. Bruce Pearl is no idiot. I think it helps Auburn too, but it is an interesting angle and a good thought. And obviously from Florida's perspective, well, for them. Any thoughts on that?
Well, absolutely. And being that they're conference rivals, they
Yeah.
know each other well, so they're not going to take
Yeah.
them for granted. But here's the thing. Auburn really has had an easy time of it so far in the tournament. Their closest game,
Yeah.
Prez, was on, their last game when they only beat Michigan State by 6. But that was probably the most misleading 6-point win that you could have, because that game was never in doubt. They were up double digits or more most of the game because Michigan State got off to a horrendous start. And for whatever reason, at the beginning of the game, Tom Izzo didn't call a timeout when Auburn was on that early run. He was trying to get to the media timeout to save that timeout. And what ended up happening, he put his team behind the 8 ball. They were down 23-8 early or never was able to come back in that game. So if Auburn's in a tight game, we don't know how they're going to react. We do know how Florida would handle that pressure. So that's the one plus that we have with Florida.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Carmine, talk about a brain cramp. I did a show with Carm earlier today. This is show 3. Prez is losing his mind. Houston playing Duke. The line is held firm. Been around +5, 5.5 all week. It still is. The over and under way lower than the first game, 136.5. Duke had like Auburn, Duke really has not been tested. This is a team that's steamrolling, 35-3 record. They're playing a 34-4 Houston team, and Houston did have a nail biter. How do we bet this game?
Well, Prez, that nail biter sets me up very good. 2 games ago, they only won by 2 points over Purdue. And that's why I came in with both fists on Sunday. I had a 5% play on Houston. I loved them in the situation. They were coming off that dogfight with Purdue, where Tennessee was coming off a very satisfying win. Tennessee went and played Kentucky in the previous game. Again, one of those ones where it was conference rivals. And guess what? Kentucky had won the 2 regular season meetings, yet Tennessee was the favorite in the rematch. And Tennessee took it to Kentucky, a very satisfying revenge win. And I just thought it was a perfect setup for Houston. And, I've had a good run. You know that on the 5% plays. We're 25-9. But you know what, Prez? I love those rocking chair ones. I'm getting a little bit too old. I don't got much hair left on top. I like to have the rocking chair games where you don't have to sweat them, and that's what Houston was. Now, with that said, coming off that perfect spot, and they got the job done, they're going up against a Duke team. And we know, here's what the narrative's been on Duke. We know they're a good team, but everybody kept saying, well, we don't know how good they are. They played in the ACC, okay? The ACC was down this year. And then what ends up happening, the 3 teams that got in from the ACC, 2 of them, all 3 of them first-round exits. North Carolina had a win in the play-in game. So, it made the conference look even weaker than it was. And so people a little bit down on what Duke has done. But you know what? As every round has gone by and Duke has answered every bell that's been, you can only play who's placed in front of you. And Duke is taking care of everybody that they faced. The narrative with Houston is that they're a great defensive team, and they are. But here's the reality, okay? They've held 15 of their last 17 opponents to 65 points or less. That's a combination of Houston playing great defense, and they have one of the slowest paced teams, in the country. They don't push the ball up the floor. So if you play good defense and you play slow offense, what are you going to have? Low scoring games. Well, you know what? When you look at Duke, you don't think of Duke as being that great defensive team, but they both hold opponents to 38% and change. Duke, maybe they haven't played as tough of a schedule because the Big 12 clearly was better than the ACC. But Duke, in their 4 tournament games, they've shot 50, 64, 60, and 54%, Prez. And as I said, Houston held 15 of 17 opponents to 65% or less. Guess what? The one tournament opponent that did score over 65 against them was Gonzaga. And why? Yeah. Because Gonzaga is a good offensive team, and they were able to push the tempo a little bit more. Well, as good as Gonzaga is, their offense doesn't even begin to start the engines on what Duke can do. I like Duke in this one, and I got to point out the only asterisk I have, and I tell you that revenge is the most overused term in sports betting. But I always say there's one instance that I put extra credence to a revenge situation, and that is you always remember the team that ended your season. These two teams played last year in the tournament, and Duke beat them 54-51. Houston, I think this year's team is better than last year's team. Remember, last year they went into the tournament with an injury to a key player. So they are better this year than they are last year. But this edition of Duke is light years better than Duke's team last year. I got to ride it with Duke. And when we get down to the end of the game, those final 2 minutes, Duke makes their foul shots, okay? The guards handle the ball. They're the ones that are going to get fouled. They hit their foul shots. They're going to extend leads. Houston's a good three-point shooting team, but that's whenever they're in their set offense and going like that. I think it's too much. There'll be pressure at the end of the game. They'll miss those threes. Take Duke and lay it.
Wow. That is a deep dive into two college basketball games, both go tomorrow. You know what they are. Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone, co-founder of WagerTalk. He's got a great promo up. 1 year full access, all his plays, only $99 a month. And if you played Marco the last 12 months, basically you'd get that package, spend the money, and then have like 10 grand still left over to go on vacation. So I highly suggest you take advantage of that. Where Tokyo Brandon is the best of the best in baseball, Marco D'Angelo is as good as it gets across all sports. You got a 5% play going, 25-9, your last 34. That's amazing. What else is going on, my friend?
That's it. And just remember, Triple Crown's around the corner. We gave out the Florida Derby winner on Saturday, and we'll be looking at some more prep races this week for the Kentucky Derby.
There we go, Marco D'Angelo, thanks for doing this. We still got Andy Lang. We still got UFC. We've still got Gianni The Greek. There is a lot of show left. Stay with us all the way. Hit that like button. I want to make mention a couple of things, guys. So a bunch of you played my 5% play on Wednesday in NHL, and it won. I have a 5% play in the NBA going tonight. This is my first 5% play in the NBA all year. I do not release 5% plays very often. Honestly, 90% of my plays are 3% plays. I don't even release 4% plays very often. I have had one 4% play in the college basketball tournaments, one, and I won it. I got a 4% tomorrow. But put that aside, I never release these plays unless I am stepping out, and I am stepping out tonight in the NBA. It is my first 5% play on the season. I am on a 7-2 run in the NBA. I'm on a 10-2 run in basketball. I've won 5 of my last 6 days. If there's one play to play tonight as we prepare for March Madness, that NBA play is it. I do have an NHL play, but I'm going to give that out free during Andy Lang's segment. My brother! We've done 2 shows today, Andy. Let's talk about the Blue Line first. This is a new sports betting show on Wager Talk. It's called The Blue Line. It's with myself, Matthew Barnaby, and Andy Lang. Every day we have a different guest. Today we had Brad May. What a thrill it is for me personally to be able to speak to guys like Matthew Barnaby and Brad May on a daily basis. We had Rob Ray on yesterday. We had Mike Commodore on Tuesday. And this show is really about NHL sports betting from a professional athlete's perspective. We talk about what is going on in the dressing room. We talk about the emotional state that these NHL players have and how we could use that to our advantage. And Andy gives out props every show. Andy, you have had the pleasure or misfortune of listening to the show every day. It's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, really cool stories. I think the best part's the behind the scenes stories that you just really haven't heard. I mean, yeah, you had Barnaby on with a guy that he got in a big fight on on the ice with.
Yeah.
And like they were telling the story about how like what they used to live together, then they're battling it out on the ice. They literally get into a fist fight, and now they're like best friends. So very, very cool inside stories that you don't really get to hear unless it's in a little bit more of an intimate setting, like that show. So very, very cool stuff.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is yesterday's show, which you were unable to do because you were doing live darts at the time. We had Rob Ray on, and Matthew and Rob had fights as well. And Matthew is 0-2 against those two guys. And Rob Ray looks like he could kick the shit out of us right now, and he's in his 50s. With that said, I'm in my 50s too. Andy Lang joining us, the greatest prop bettor I've ever seen, and just as good in parlay betting, which is freaking unbelievable. What a show so far. We have literally the best baseball bettor ever in Tokyo Brandon. Probably the top 3 best handicapper in history in Marco D'Angelo. We got Gianni still to come, who is like ridiculous. And now we've got you. I'm a lucky man. Anyway, Andy, let's get into some prop bets. You've got a UFC violence parlay. What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a couple fights to not go the distance. This is this week's UFC violence parlay. We're actually going to go to a female fight. Diana Belbita versus Dion Barbosa. Listen, Belbita, she's just not that good. She's only won 2 fights in the UFC, and they're against opponents that are not in the UFC anymore. She just got submitted in her last fight by Molly McCann. Molly McCann just retired. This is not going to go well for her. Dion Barbosa is a real legit submission specialist. And when you look at Belbita, she's lost twice in the UFC by armbar. Belbita is a beautiful fighter, and she likes to show it. I think the questions might be, is she more interested in her post-UFC modeling and Instagram career as opposed to fighting? My guess is she loses this fight, is probably retired, moves on to bigger and better things, but I expect Barbosa to get the finish in this one. And then we mentioned the Torres-Finney Robert Valentin fight earlier this week. I like Valentin to win, but I'm going to throw this in to not go the distance. Torres-Finney is going to take Valentin down in the first round. He's either going to ground and pound him out or sub him, or he's going to be exhausted, and Valentin's going to knock him out in rounds 2 or 3 when Finney has no gas. So either way, I just think this is a great fight to not go the distance. So Belbita and Barbosa to not go the distance, Finney and Valentin to not go the distance. That's this week's violence parlay.
With a retirement angle mixed in. NBA, my friend, Jalen Duren over 12.5 points. Why do you like this?
Yeah, he's been really good, over in 7 straight games, and this is really about the opponent. They play the Raptors tonight, and the Raptors are resting players, and they should do what you can to improve your draft position at this point. They kind of look to be tanking. They mistakenly won 4 games in a row against 4 awful teams, and I think the management was like, hey, let's make sure we're sitting our starters here in the fourth quarter and the third quarter. They lost by 10 to the Trailblazers last night, and the Raptors give up 22.4 points per game to centers. This is a Detroit team that is motivated to win. They need these wins. They're tied with Milwaukee. So you get a motivated Pistons team, a guy who's been playing well against a team that should be tanking. To me, the screams over on his points.
We still got Andrew Babakitis joining us from the Westgate to talk UFC, Gianni the Greek as well for his Steam report. Andy, so I told everyone I'm going to give out my NHL play on the house. I'm on a 9-1 NHL run, and I'm the #1 most profitable NHL expert. So nobody needs to go and buy my NHL play today. Now, I don't think I have ever given out a play for free when I'm on a 9-1 run. But I love the people in the chat room, and I'm appreciative of all of them and all of the guys who watch the show on all of our platforms across the board. So here it is. It's not rocket science. It's Alex Ovechkin over 3.5 shots on goal tonight. Now, if you go deep into Alex Ovechkin's actual statistics, look, he put up 4 against Carolina, but before that, he only put up 2 against Boston, 3-3 against Buffalo and Minnesota. So he's only gone over 3.5 one time in the last 4 games. I think tonight it's going to be close to 6 or 7 shots, Andy. I think you could take an alternate line. There's over 5 at plus 150. I like that too. They're playing a Chicago team that's in the middle of tanking. They're playing a Chicago team that allows a lot of shots. They're playing a Chicago team that is likely going to watch Ovechkin try break the record just like everybody else. So that is my play for my clients. I'm giving it out here. You like the same one. What are your reasons?
Just listen, he's gone over in 12 out of 20 games, 5 out of the last 9, and you mentioned it. There is no better matchup. Blackhawks give up over 31 shots on goal per game. That's amazing to give up over 31. Like San Jose was truly awful last year, but Chicago, I mean, come on, guys, over 31 shots on goal per game. So yeah, we like at least 4 of them to go to Ovechkin tonight. So yes, we had to talk about that. And listen, you miss. I don't know if you on purpose did it, but you introduced me and said Andy's going to be doing some NCAA props. So I quickly got some NCAA props. Yeah.
Well, wait. Not only did I do that, but I actually did put it up in the schedule for you to do NCAA props. So clearly,
I got 2 of them. I got 2 of them.
Well, I got a fever, and more Andy prop bets is the only cure. So go.
All right, I'm going to go against the grain and go Cooper Flag under his point total. I liked under 17.5. I really like 18.5. This guy's under an 8 out of the last 10 games. He had the 30-point game against Arizona, but he comes back against Alabama. He goes 6 of 16 from the field for only 16 points. This is Houston. This is the number 1 defense. Do you think they may focus on Cooper Flag, Prez? I have this gut feeling that maybe, just maybe, they might be focusing on stopping him. So I like him to go under his points. I'll take it over on Walter Clayton Jr., over 20.5 points. He's gone over 7 out of 9 games, guard for Florida. Auburn, 91st in points allowed, but they're even worse against guards. 128th in the nation allowing points to guards. This guy's shooting 14 shot attempts, and 8.4 of those are 3-point attempts, shooting 44% from behind the arc. So Clayton over his points, Cooper Flag under his points.
Andy Lang, everyone. Andy, I got to let you go, dude. We are running so late. Really quick, what's going on for you and the clients?
Yeah, we lost our NBA play last night because our guy got hurt. So what I did is I attached today's play to the pack yesterday. So it's an unfortunate loss. It wasn't anybody's fault. So you get that one, but that play is up. We also cashed our PFL last night, and our UFC pack is up. We're number 1 in MMA profits. This is a great card. 2 of the plays are underdogs. One's a really close money line play. So take advantage of that. MMA has been a fantastic source of building bankrolls this year. So number 1, 2025 in units gained, wt.buzz/AL.
There we go. Andy Lang, everyone. Andrew Babakitis joining us from the Westgate. And firstly, my humble apologies, Andrew. I know I have left you waiting, and you're on the clock working. Just so much great information, and I didn't really want to rush any of the guys. Really do apologize. And to make it up to you, one of our listeners commented, I did the show The Blue Line today, and it's up now, and there's a comment there that says, Prez talks about hair more than he talks about hockey. Well, look at this guy's hair. Look at that hair, everybody. It does not get better than that man's hair. How are you, Andrew?
I'm doing awesome, man. Yeah, I'm learning a lot from you guys listening to you talk about some college basketball, so it's all good.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you something. We got some incredible college basketball bettors. That is for sure. I'm 12-4 in the madness, which I'm super pumped about as it's about to end. Anyway, let's get into some UFC. Where's all the money going, and what do you like?
Yeah, so we got an Apex card this week. I'll give you guys some insight on 4 of the fights. So starting early on in the card, we got the McKee versus the Frunza fight. Not much, not too much action on the fight, but we did get some early sharp action on that McKee side at plus 160. You can still get plus 130 out there in the market. So early on the card, we do have some sharp action on that dog. And then we'll go up towards the top of the card, the main three fights. That Cortavius Romeus fight versus Chang Ho Lee. We opened up Chang Ho Lee at minus 170. Very similar to the last fight, we did take some early sharp action on Cortavius Romeus at plus 150. But that price has moved very aggressively. It's sitting real close to a pick now. We're sitting minus 125 here on Chang Ho Lee. And then the co-main event, Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. This has actually been probably the most fun one to book so far. The early sharp action came in on that's Pat Sabatini's side, but it really hasn't stopped the movement on Brito. The public action is all over Brito, and we're taking much more handle on that Brito side, so that price is kind of moving against the early sharp action. So, yeah, that's been a fun one to book and keep an eye on. And then we'll go to the main event, the Leron Murphy versus Josh Emmett fight. This has really just been one-way action. We opened up Murphy at minus 250. We took sharp action at 250 on Leron Murphy and at $3. We're currently sitting minus 350, so that thing's moved 100 cents already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we're going to need that dog in the main event. That's what we're hoping for.
And what do you like? Any bets you're making?
Yeah, I mean, early on, I liked Joe Anderson Brito, but now I'm kind of off that fight because I saw the early sharp action was in on Pat Sabatini. But a lot of these fights that I like have the prices have moved aggressively. I do like the Cortavius Romeus side. I did bet that. And yeah, like I said, I'll probably stay off of that Joe Anderson Brito side now.
Man, Andrew, we love having you on. This is great information. I'm going to put you on the spot here because we did miss Art this week, was unable to do the show. Do you have anywhere near you where the money's going on the madness tomorrow?
Yeah, I know this is some inside information from the back for sure. I know a lot of the guys in the back are on Auburn, and I'm on Auburn as well. So that's kind of a ride for a lot of the guys in the back, and I know we're booking to kind of need that side. So
awesome. What do you got to promote?
I mean, if you haven't followed me on X yet, feel free to follow me. I try to post as much UFC content as I can on there. I've added some new stuff to our UFC betting menu here at the Superbook. So if you're interested in diversifying your portfolio of sports books, add the Superbook, and yeah, come see our lines. We have real fair prices, and we're looking to take some big bets. So, yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Andrew Babakitis, love having you on. Make sure to follow him on Twitter. Wow. This show has been fun to do. Gianni The Greek joining us in a second. We still have 10 minutes to go. Well, I guess he's joining us now. How are you, buddy? What's going on? Never been better?
Never better. Just excited weekend. Excited for the weekend, my man.
So we need to do shirts. Never been better. That's
Never
without
better.
question. That's your slogan, right? That's your thing, right?
That's
well,
it.
listen,
Never better. I got Texas tonight at 10-1, a little hedge on South Carolina, and tomorrow we're cheering in Auburn and I can't believe it, and Houston, Auburn and Houston. Yeah. So I got three huge futures pending and a UFC card with a 5%. Could you be better? It's hard to, right?
Dude, I'm looking forward to Monday, bro. I want to hear you on Monday with 3 future bets in play. Monday is going to be a fun show. Gianni, I want to ask the listeners something that's it's not relevant to you, but I'm curious about your thoughts. And I did bring this up on Puck Time. And this is basically what it is. So we had a lot of people I had a 5% play on Wednesday in hockey, and there were a lot of people that purchased that play, which I'm so thankful for. It won. The next day, So I was on a 7-1 hockey run. I release a 5%. It wins. I'm now on an 8-1 hockey run. Number one hockey expert at WagerTalk. And 7% of the people who purchased my 5% play on Wednesday purchased my NHL play on Thursday. 7%. So if 100 people bought my 5% play and won, 7 of those 100 came back Thursday for more. I'm asking you guys, and I am not complaining. I am so appreciative of you all, but I'm asking you guys, why? Do you not think that if I won my 5% on Wednesday, I'm the number one most profitable expert in that sport, and I'm on an 8-1 run, I have earned your business on Thursday? I have earned your business on Thursday. Explain to me out of curiosity so that we could get better as a business why only 7% of you thought that I was worthy of playing the next day after I won a whole lot of money for you on that very day. I'm just curious. I don't understand the betting patterns, the buying, purchasing patterns. Gianni, it really makes no sense to me.
No, and usually that's exactly what pick buyers do. They look for hot streaks. They look for big games. And sometimes that may not even be the best approach. Again, because when it comes to like being able to sustain a 90% run, it's very difficult to do. You know what I mean? Course. And a lot of times what happens is guys will buy a package for someone that's been hot for the last 3 weeks, and anybody's going to cool off a little bit. Like if you're hitting 9 out of 10 games for over 30, 40 games, you expect a little regression. Like that's just not sustainable. Right. But when it comes to big plays, I think that's different, especially if you've been selective. You know what I mean? I think it may be because it was the next day. So I think a lot of people start to play the psychologist and thinking like, oh, he released it again just because he won. Like, had you not won?
No, but I only released a 3% play yesterday. So it was just I went back to my average regular play. So, and by the way, Gianni, it won.
Well, there you go. There you go. They want big plays. I thought the next day you fired another 5.
No.
So you did what you're supposed to do. Because as a if it was just for sales and you come off a big play, if you were just trying to get sales, then of course you put out another 5%.
Right,
it's the easiest way to make money.
I just went back to my regular play, 3%
because
play.
It didn't warrant a 5%, so you've been real selective with those. That's why you've had success. That's
today. Yeah, go ahead.
You nailed it right there. That's what I was telling you. See, I didn't catch it, and that's exactly what I'm telling you. They hunt down big plays. That's what it is. They hunt down the big plays, thinking like, oh, this guy's got only a 4%, but that guy's got a 5%. That's got to be stronger. Look at the results of the guy, not just the size of the play. That's what matters. Yeah, and if you're looking number one in NHL for the season, then I want all your stuff. And when the bigger the play, the more confidence I have, the bigger bet I'm going to place. But I want all the stuff of someone that's a winner. That's the psychology that they're hopping and trying to handicap the handicapper. That's the biggest mistake you could do.
Yes,
looking for the hot hand. You'll never do it. You'll never be able to do it. You're always timing wrong. It's like trying to time the market, Prez. You've been investing long enough. Nobody can do that. Instead, you need time in the market. You got to time in it. You find a good winning guy. You need time with them. You can't time them when they're going to get hot or cold.
Imagine, so last year my financial advisor got me, this is true story, 39.46% return. 39.46% return. So what do you think I did? I fired him and went and got another guy. No, I did not do that at all. I'm still with him. Anyway, and Gianni, I barely have 5%. Tonight's NBA 5% play for me is my first NBA 5% play of the entire season. Literally, I have not had one all year. So, but I am curious, and I do want to hear from the clients.
I'm telling you. That's what it is, Prez. 100%. If someone else had a big play going, that's where they went. If you could look behind the back end, you have access, you'll see.
Of course I can.
That's where the other 93% went. They went to whoever had the biggest play. And, that's what they're chasing.
And as one of the owners of Wager Talk, I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining at all. I love our customers. I just am curious more than anything else. Anyway, my brother, let's get into some actionable betting info for tonight. We've got 3 NHL games, a slate of NBA, a bunch of baseball. Where are all the best syndicates in the world going today? Where's their money?
Right now, NBA and, of course, Major League Baseball. And real quick, on the UFC tomorrow, I did also like Cortavious Romeus over Chang Ho Lee. I gave that out to my subscribers at a better price than what it is now, but I liked it enough that I made it a 4% play as well. So it was good to see Babakitis say that that's the sharp guys bet it at Westgate as well. I like that side. Real quickly, NBA overnights is where they're placing most of their bets, getting out ahead of the market, mostly on the totals. So if you're betting NBA really late, it's probably hard to make money right now. 561 over 235, 236 Utah, Indiana just last night. Now 564 under 222 and 220 in Sacramento, Charlotte, but they followed through and bet the under 219 again today. So that's one of them that you could legitimately say that's a real move, no manipulation. And the same thing with 567 under 228 and a half, 228 and 227 last night on Detroit, Toronto. Then this morning, it went back up to 227 and a half, and they hit it again under 227 and a half. So anything above 227 and a half, they are looking to go under. Any line that went up there, they bet it again. Detroit, 567. They laid -10 last night. I just got it right now while I was actually waiting to come on. They're going to hit the 11 again right now. So if you're looking at your screen, don't be surprised if you see Detroit get up to -12 because they hit 10 last night and they're going to hit Detroit -11 this morning. And finally, 574 Chicago. This was last night, -4.5 and -5. In Major League Baseball, again, they hit the totals and they look to take advantage of the 7s, the 9s, and the 11s. They bet 9-11 under White Sox in Detroit, under 7.5 -115, and all the way up to -125 at 7.5. When it got to 7, they backed off. Side Milwaukee -110, and then they hit -115 again this morning. 913 under 9 on Baltimore, Kansas City, but on that one they also went under 8.5. So those are the strongest when you see they're willing to hit it again after it comes off that key 9-11-7, and then 923 under 10. All the way up to -130. It went to 9.5. That's all that I could find, and they didn't want it. They just wanted under 10, willing to lay all the way up to -130 to get the under 10. And one more side for you, the Oakland A's, but that was bet last night at -105 and -110. So you'll see lines go up and down during the day of the game, but a lot of the stuff happens the night before, especially on sides, that then they look to scalp. So I don't have it. That's why I usually give more totals than sides, because I have a lot more confidence in the totals as being legit than the sides. Because I always say, if you could manipulate a market, why wouldn't you? If you have the power to do it, why wouldn't you move it? So you're going to see a lot of that. Don't let a little take back scare you, because that's normal. When you have a big scalp, you're going to take it. It's free money on the table. Don't draw too many conclusions off of that.
Gianni The Greek joining us. Gianni, we know you're cheering for Houston and Auburn, but from a betting perspective, the lines are holding fast. It really doesn't feel to me like there's a huge amount of money coming in on any of the sides here for tomorrow's game. What are you seeing or hearing?
Yeah, see, usually the betting syndicates will not get involved when it gets to the Final Four, when it gets to the championship game, unless there's so much, the narrative is so strong and the bias is so strong that they shade the line so significantly that it forces them to take advantage of the value. Usually that's not the case. It's kind of like we talk about the Super Bowl. Very rarely are they betting the side of the total, more the total than the side. They're hitting the props because the lines by that late in the season are extremely tight. And it's the same with college basketball now. These teams have played 35, almost 40 games. There's a lot of data there. So the lines are going to be very tight. And if the betting syndicates aren't betting them early, you're not going to get much movement. The movement will come tomorrow when the recreational bettors get to the window. And from what I've seen, because they've already parlayed NBA money lines, NHL money lines, and Major League Baseball money lines, they're betting the big favorites in those sports. Like if it's a minus 300 in hockey, they'll parlay it thinking this can't lose to what they're going to bet on Saturday. And what I'm already seeing is they're betting Florida and they're betting Duke, both of these favorites. They're betting both favorites. They're betting both favorites on the point spread. They're betting both favorites on the money line, and they're even teasing it to where they're taking Duke down to where they figure, okay, Duke just has to win the game. And now we're getting Florida at plus 1.5, +2, depending what kind of teaser you have access to. Bad bet regardless, but they're betting both favorites. So the books will need the dog. And like Andrew just said coming on, that they were like the Auburn side in the back, and I saw the same thing. Any threes that are available, they picked it off. I have an order to get 3. Like if I could get 3, a guy that I share stuff with is like, can you help us get down on +3? We really want to bet Auburn, but they won't take the 2.5. They want the 3. I think tomorrow they'll be able to pick off some threes because the bettors are going to take Florida. Duke's a little bit higher, so they're going to do a lot of teaser with Duke and a lot of money line with Duke. But I think these dogs are live. These are 4 number 1 teams. And if you look back, like the ratings, like KenPom and stuff, these are 4 of the best teams in the last like 30 plus years, data wise. Like these are truly number 1 teams in college basketball. The cream definitely rose to the top in this tournament, and no surprise, any one of these teams win it. In fact, all 4 of them are top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense. So they're as close as you can get. I like the dogs. But
there
we
go, Gianni. I got it. Gianni the Greek, everyone. Guys, we got to call it a show. What an outstanding Friday. Blue line is up. Puck time is up. This show is up. First pitch in 3 minutes. Shout out to Tokyo Brandon, Marco D'Angelo, Andy Lang, Andrew Babakitis, Gianni the Greek. On behalf of Dan Alexander and myself, thank you for watching. We'll see you Monday.